My name is Leah Daniels, and I am the founder of GIFT, Green Industry Funded Training. The mission of GIFT is to provide an opportunity for disadvantaged communities and businesses to get into the cannabis industry. To give you a little background about myself, I am a licensed general contractor in the state of Massachusetts, and I've also owned my own nonprofit organization called Green Beginnings Institute. I've been committed to the Roxbury community my entire life. I have watched it be taken advantage of for 53 years now, and I find that it is my duty to step in to actually create and generate additional wealth and prosperity within my community by creating green industry funded training to bring them to the forefront of having a business in the cannabis industry in the state of Massachusetts. Based on the law of Chapter 56, I was under the impression that economic empowerment in my community for the first time would be considered the priority in this process. I said to myself, well, finally we have an opportunity to take advantage of getting in line first instead of last. Section 56 states you shall prioritize economic empowerment applicants first. Unfortunately, that was not what happened here. We were not prioritized, we were not first. I wish I could say that it was because we were unable and incapable, but I would like to say it was because that we were economic empowerment disadvantaged and in their minds, dumb, ignorant, and black. And it put our applications at the end of the line, which is quite evident with us only being represented by 3% of the industries doing business in the state of Massachusetts. We've waited 3 years for the state of Massachusetts to do something about not prioritizing us, and look where we are. This is the reason why I was left no choice but not only to apply to the state for my licensure, but also to create a program to bring up some of my other community members in this industry with me as well. GIFT, Green Industry Funded Training, by economic empowerment, for economic empowerment, and with economic empowerment, we will succeed in generating more businesses in this cannabis industry in the state of Massachusetts together. We have created something for economic empowerment as a solution to incorporate us in this industry. We hope that you support our goals and aspirations in understanding and presenting a green industry funded training, a gift. So please, if you support equity, and you support inclusion, and you support my cause and my goals and my aspirations, I would love to receive a gift from you. If you are an individual or business that wants to help, but are not involved in the cannabis business, consider making a donation of time or resources. We anticipate a funding need of $1.6 million to bring this program to fruition, and every little bit helps. Thank you so much. We look forward to your gift. My God is an awesome God. He raised from heaven above. He All right.
To be with you all for a very historic moment for the cannabis community, the cannabis industry, Massachusetts. Thank you all so much for your support. I wanted to first say thank you to Leah is representing the community, the local community here, those who have been disenfranchised, disadvantaged, traumatized by the war on drugs, LGBTQ, BIPOC, veterans, local Roxbury residents. Leah is my sister, my godmother, my grandma, my little sister. She's everything to me, and I am so grateful to be working for her, with her. And I also want to say thanks to Jay. Jay is the wife of Leah, a proud wife. When I asked Jay, what is your title? She said, I'm wife. That's what I do. I'm here to support my wife. And she is the best support system I've seen.
Proud, strong, and ready. So I have a team in this room, and we start off our meetings with fired up, and ready to go. One more time. Are we fired up? And are we ready to go? All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to jump right on in here. Green Industry funded training. Woo. It is the equity solution for inclusion. I have stood here fighting tirelessly for 3 years to get into this industry. I was told at the beginning, in the onset of this industry coming to the state of Massachusetts, that black people looking like me was going to be a priority. Let me say that again. Black people looking like me was going to be a priority. Now, the way they scripted it was black, women, veterans, I know there's one more in there somewhere. I know it is. So I'm going to tell you that I checked those boxes. I am black. I am a woman. I am a veteran. I'm not poor. But I'm not rich either. Let it not be confused. I'm not rich either. I'm rich in spirit. I'm rich in my intentions. I'm rich in my goals and my aspirations. And I am fully, completely a billionaire with love. So, when the provisional license actually happened, I had to stand before the state and argue whether I was a suitable candidate to be in this industry. Imagine that, as we stand here today. I'll ask the room, do I appear to be a suitable candidate for the cannabis industry? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I met Gary at my home, one of my friends, my wife's friend. And when Gary came in my home, he was like, oh my God, like, I watched you speak, I watched you stood up, I watched you like argue amongst just battling to get what you know was yours. He said, I was proud. I went to my job, which is Revolutionary Clinics, and I spoke to them about you and the need for corporate responsibility. So thank you, Gary. Okay? I took that and I asked him to introduce me to Keith and Tom. I promised him that I would represent him and our community accordingly. I promised him I was not going to abandon who I am with the thought of millions of dollars coming to the industry. I promised him I was going to do something if I had the opportunity to do so. And we did. There is a problem in this industry. There is a lack of equity and inclusion. There is not enough people that look like me and Gary and some of the other people in this room in this industry. And we decided collectively we were going to do something to change that. And I was very, very specific. I am not looking for jobs. I'm looking to create businesses in this community that look like me. So when you start talking about people that are corporate America, I would like to say that communication is the key. And when you sit down and you look a person in the eye across the table and you tell them, one, I'm not fail, so your intentions is to acquisition me. Maybe I should get up. Two, I'm not a sellout. If your intentions are to whitewash me, maybe I should get up. I am simply here asking for some consideration and some assistance in allowing us to elevate, to be in this industry, to change some of our community's generational wealth, to be able to give back to the community instead of always knocking on somebody else's door for some help and assistance. Let's start helping and assisting ourselves. So, I'm going to ask my entire team to come forward and be recognized. I'm going to start with my mister from another sister, Mr. Sean Patton. He going to make me cry. Don't hug me like that. You know I get emotional. And his wife. Where's Jess? Jess, come on out here. I couldn't even do this without you, baby. Where's Jess? Jess, the wife. Yeah. Hey, baby. Let's get Al on up in here. I know what you black folks are saying. They all white. I don't care. They my white friends, okay? All right? Yup, they sure are. All right. Where's Edmund? Edmund is the first black CEO for a vertically integrated medical marijuana company. You want to talk about making change? This is how you make change. You put yourself in a situation, in a position where you can actually hire someone in a position. You don't get that with a job. You get that with a company. So, Edmund Tucker, the first black CEO. Who else is in this room? Oh, I got Sid. Come on up here, Sid. My chief operating officer. Yup, she white too, y'all. But she's mine. She's awesome, amazing, great, does everything, up late, early in the morning, at night, not afraid to check people, ask for specific things that I ask her to get, okay, reluctantly and relentlessly. We could not even be putting this all together if Sid did not do all of her operations, okay? So Sid, take it, Sid. Who else I got in this room here? Where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? Gregory, come on. Gregory Daniels. So on the application, when you're an economic empowerment applicant, you have to tell them, how come you poor and black? How poor and black are you? How disadvantaged are you? You got one eyeball, one leg, a knot in the side of it. What's going on? I had to expose my uncle's criminal background history because my father was in the penitentiary the majority of my life. And my uncle being the oldest male in the family. Ooh, God. My uncle being the oldest male in the family had to step up when my mother died, when I was 3 years old. So, thank you, Uncle, for being here for me and guiding me. My uncle, Gregory Daniels, is the outreach coordinator for the miseducation of cannabis that we're bringing to the table. To change the trajectory of opioid addictions, we're going to try to give them an option out of opioid addiction with my uncle's help and his understanding and guidance around how to do that in this industry. Thank you, Gregory Daniels. Where's Al? Al's here. Okay, come on, y'all, to the front. Come here. Come here. This is Amelia. Amelia is, oh my God, Amelia. My wife tells me not to say she's my sister wife, but I call her my sister wife anyway, right? Because she helps my wife maintain me. I got a lot going on, and it's a lot to take care of. We have chickens and cats and, 5, 6 businesses, and Amelia is there every day. When my great auntie passed away, ooh, God, give me the strength. Amelia was present with her husband, praying for her, because Jacinth and I weren't around at the time. We were very, very busy. So we fall on Amelia for a lot. And thank you, Amelia, for being who you are. And my sister wife, my friend. Thank you, Amelia. Woo. Come on, who's left in this room? Come here, Tom. Come here, Tom. Come here, Tom, please. Please, Tom Snyder. Tom Snyder. This is the infamous Tom Snyder. Oh, God. Me and this man, well, I think I cussed him out one night. He called me around 6 o'clock. He said something. I just went to the left.
We had a good week.
Yeah, we made up after that. But, he comes at me sometimes too. But here's what I'm clear about. We've had conversations out on here in the street. We talk about how we're going to solve problems for my community, how he can be helpful, how he plans on being helpful, and he has been helpful. This is Revolutionary Clinic's marketing manager. I don't even know his title. He's my friend, okay? He's my friend. And he is helping mentor us. And they have dedicated time and money to make sure the Green Industry Funded Training Mentorship Program is successful. Thank you, Tom. Woo. My wife told me I got 2 minutes to wrap it up. If you're in the back of this room and you're part of this team, where you at, Sean? Sean, he had a headache. Where you at, Sean? Sean, you. Come here, baby. Oh. This man is my lead cultivator. And yup, everybody, he white too. But this man can tell you how to grow marijuana down to the gram cost. Okay? Because I've wanted to know, this is my hard-earned money. I don't have no war chests. I got to go out here and work for it. So I can't just be spending it all willy-nilly. I want to know down to the cent. And this is Sean Yu, our lead cultivator. And he has told me, he has just informed me that we have all intentions on growing our cannabis organically. No chemicals, no rushing on the buds, no none of that. We really want to make sure we have some good medicine for you patients out here. Thank you, Sean Yu.
I'd say 3 years ago now, I became the first Director of Equity and Community Outreach for the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. And through that, I successfully initiated our first in the nation social equity program statewide, as Massachusetts has the first statewide social equity program in our cannabis industry. And through that, I was fortunate enough to meet Leah Daniels and Jay Cook, who are integral parts of Alchemy, and connect with them on their journey to virtual integration and shifting from recreational to medicinal, and even, reviewing and going through the process with them to become vendors of the Cannabis Control Commission's social equity program. So just kind of connected on a few different levels, just as a person as well who uses cannabis and is connected to the communities impacted, the most disproportionately by one, the war on drugs, marijuana prohibition, incarceration, arrest, and so forth and so on. But kind of grassroots connected, but also I would say politically connected and personally connected and professionally connected as well. What has occurred, right? We can't fix or build up a people or a community or an industry without first acknowledging what has got us to the point where we are. And then working through various methods, programming like GIFT being one of those, to then undo those disproportionate systems or programs or government activities, laws, and legislation that has been passed to get us to the point that we are, so then we can then undo it. And so I think that that's what it means. It's kind of like FUBU. It's for us, by us, with the acknowledgement of the powers that be, that they've created an environment that now needs to be reconciled through, again, like I said, various methods, programming, funding, uh, all kinds of things, expungements, the criminal legal system. So there's a lot of things that means, but it means put the money really where your mouth is, and help people get into this industry in the ways that they're supposed to be after they've been impacted by the prohibition or the illegality of this industry. One of the things that the commission has done successfully was, one, build a technical assistance and training program. So that program in itself, the social equity program, is successful, but only in terms of what it does, and that's technical assistance and workforce development. However, it still leaves participants or those who were impacted by the system, or even those who are just going to come into the system just because, and I don't want to call it the system, the industry, just because, it leaves them without a starting place for funding. It leaves them without access to investors. Even if we, orchestrate meetings of that type, there are a lot of federal implications that leave people who are already of communities that were most disproportionately impacted in the same boats that they already are. There's a lack of banking opportunities. And even when we do have banking opportunities, it's been proven time and time again that we are those, or I am especially of a community that receives predatory loans, predatory funding, higher interest rates. And so as much as the CCC can, needs to, one, implement more programming that, one, could provide funding, could funnel funding in directly, maybe from the CCC into the businesses that they are targeting for inclusion and equity. But they have lobbied for it through the legislation, the legislators, but haven't seen that. There are funds, more attention on where the funding is actually going. There's been millions of stories in which it showed that the funding went predominantly to police forces, where this was an industry that was highly policed, and then the money is going back into that or funneled back into that same carceral system. And so it's just really understanding that, one, equity isn't a program, it is an umbrella. The word equity is an umbrella, and you can use different programming to get there. So I think there's a lot of things that can be done, a lot of new and fresh ideas, in addition to, technical assistance and training. I think funding, real estate, understanding zoning, understanding your municipal process, even though all of those are part of the technical assistance and understanding the industry, they are separate things that participants in this industry are their highest barriers. They need access to real estate. They need access to funding. People are, renting out properties that then they have to wait in a process to get their license, and they're paying on this property this entire time, and they may not, get a license or get a what we have in Massachusetts, a host community agreement. So there's a lot, and I just said a lot, but there's a lot that can be done. And I think just the number one thing is just to remember that equity is more than a program, and that's kind of, once you have that thinking, then you have a better chance at being successful. But I think once the ball starts rolling, right, it's a snowball effect. So if you don't get it right at the beginning, it's harder to go back and then undo some of those things, especially when you're talking about equity. Because I am very proud of Alchemy League and the things that they have done for this industry, for the things that they have done and will continue to do for this community specifically, especially the gift program. So I'm just excited to see where it goes and how many more people will have access to the industry and be able to successfully transition into this industry through gift specifically, but also just proud of us continuing to weave that thread of equity throughout.
And green industry funded training is the solution to equity inclusion. It is by economic empowerment, which is me, for economic empowerment, which is my community, and with economic empowerment, which are people that extend outside of my community. They have talent, they have treasure, they have time, they have commitment as well. And do see the injustices that have been happening and want to be part of that solution as well. So, we welcome everybody that is coming with the same like mind, same spirit, same goals and aspirations. This is a wonderful opportunity for an industry and a community, and we will build it back brick by brick. And it's going to take like-minded people and like-spirited people.
In 2011, I came to Boston and I was in search of a job. I responded to an ad in the papers and I went to Boston and I met with Leah and her business partner at the time for an interview, and they said I could use you. Now it was insulation. And coming out of Jamaica, we don't do quite a lot of that. So I was green. I was green. And anyway, we got started, and my initial reaction was just being impressed by this little woman she was in the attics with us, she was in knee walls with us, and the way you see her here, that's how she comes to work every day. There is never a dull moment. She's always full of life, always full of energy. And, she poured everything she knew. And I was like, how does she know so much? But I have come over the years to realize that she's a woman who prepares. If she's going into something, she goes in with everything. And so she dug deep. She made sure she understood all the nuances, everything about the business, so that those of us who were coming on who did not know anything about it, she was able to pour into us and taught us everything she knew. And when she was done with that and was not satisfied, she sought out programs that were run by the state or private companies, and she would come and say, Corbett, you have to leave your house for 2 weeks. I'm sending you to Springfield for training. Or Corbett, you'll be out for 2 days. You need to go get this training. And after all these years, I'm still in it. I have done all kinds of things. I am a certified building performance analyst. So it has been good. Every cent I have made since I have come here is through the program I'm working in, which got started with Leah. Leah is a great person, and over the years we have formed a close relationship. I consider her my friend, my advisor, and I can only wish those of you who have come on program with her now and those who will benefit from the program, this is real. And she will do everything to make sure that you are as prepared as you possibly can. I wish you all the best, and as you go forward, I will be listening out for the success stories. Thank you very much, and God bless.
I spent a lot of time in the hospitality industry, worked for some of the biggest firms, did all the big stuff. But I've never come across a team that is as dedicated as this one. You probably heard Nike say, just do it. Well, this party tonight is part of that. Just do it. And everybody in the team jumped together and did it. And this is the result. So congratulations to the team. I want to recognize some individuals who've done more than their share. And everyone has done everything that they could. In fact, the team was here last night until 3 in the morning, getting ready for you all. And that's the kind of dedication that we have within ourselves. For the team, I want to recognize Sid, who's just put out an outstanding performance in the past 2 weeks. I've been with this company 3 months, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I met Leah and how I met her gracious Jason. But I wanted to take a moment here and say, Sid, congratulations and thank you. So I'll tell you about how I met Leah and Jason. We met at a Canna-Com conference, and we started talking, as most people do at those conferences, getting to know one another. We laughed that day, never thinking we'd see each other again. And I am so impressed and so happy to be with them. And I tell you, I work for corporations, I work for Disney, I work for Hilton, I work for all kinds of people, and this is an outstanding group to be with. So you heard Corbett up here talking about how dedicated she is to persons, how she's personable, how she cares about you as an individual. That's Leah Daniels, an absolute wonderful person, and I'm very fortunate to be able to be working with her. So thank you.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Alexander Pade with Darrell Black, the one and only.
Yes, sir.
My man,
yes, sir.
thanks for coming through.
Appreciate you, man.
How have you been?
I've been great, bro. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. So.
You're the president of Minorities for Medical Marijuana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now you're here to celebrate GIFT and everything that's been going on there. So tell me, first of all, what's the significance of GIFT for you in terms of Boston, cannabis, minority, cannabis life, the community?
GIFT is everything. Honestly, it's everything that we're trying to strive for. I've met Leah a while ago, and she's been on the same thing that I've been on. You know what I mean? We've been talking, especially with her and her counterpart, with all her businesses and everything like that. I just want to make sure that we understand the magnitude of what she's doing. You know what I mean? Having this type of funding and having this type of education and leadership, giving that to the community, that's what we need. That's what we're striving to do every day. That's what I'm striving to do every day. Make sure that these young kids know that cannabis could be something that can change your life. You know what I mean? It changed mine. So I just want to make sure that I reiterate that to the youth. You know what I mean? I know we can't really speak to the youth, but it's hard not to teach them that we can be more than just entertainment. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that Gift is definitely going to contribute to. That is leadership. Getting those people and getting these young people and these people that don't know, like 21-year-olds that don't know what they want to do. It gives them an opportunity to give them options. You know what I mean? So that's what's most important to me, and I'm very proud to be a part of this whole thing. It's medicine. You know what I mean? It's an aid. I'm a medical patient, so it's very important to me. You know what I mean? A lot of the things that I do now, run off of cannabis. I'm not one of those people that do coffee, energy drinks, water, weed, and I'm good, man. Like, I feel like, if you don't abuse it, if you use it in the right instances and you use it the right way, it can really be one of those fuse to get you to the next level. And I feel like for me, it's gotten me to the next level in my life because of the way that I've utilized it, the way that I've learned about it, the way I've respect the plant. Because that's the number one thing, respecting the plant, making sure that you know your history on it and make sure you know the prohibition of it. All that is very important. And once you respect it and you see where it can aid you and it can, and you find the medicinal side of this plant, that's when you start to really, really appreciate it.
So the need for equity and inclusion, in the cannabis community starts decades, centuries ago.
Yes, sir.
Can you speak a little bit to that?
It's our plant, man. It's our plant. This is something that we use to PTSD. Like, this is the stuff that all the things that's going around in our neighborhood. This is that one having a joint after a long day. Those are the things that get you through, get you to the next day, and bringing all these other MSOs and these people, politically correct, these Caucasian white people, and bringing them to, they're gonna make $1 billion off this industry, and we have people that's locked up. I got family members that's still locked up for carrying for carrying cannabis. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get expungements off of these people. Trying to get these people out of here, man, because it's not right. And the way that I feel, the way that we really, give their just due to what we did to what the system did to them, they need to have equity stake in a lot of these companies. A lot of these companies need to give equity stake to, or give one point off of what's going on in their business to a lot of these people that suffered. You know what I mean? Giving it to the community is not enough. We need to give it to the people that have been locked up for 10 plus years because of cannabis. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm here. I'm just trying to make sure that we have equity inside of our community, make sure that we keep that dollar circulating around our community, make sure that, these people that are coming from different states understand that what you have to do for our community first. You know what I mean? You're coming in here, you're doing all these things, you're making a lot of money. Yeah. You need to really contribute that to our community. Involved. You really need to contribute that to getting Black people and the minority people at a higher level, at executive level positions, and give them equity. That's what we're trying to, that's the thing we're trying to do. I've seen a lot of Black people and a lot of minorities give their all to this, and still to this day do not have a business of their own. So like, it takes a lot. So if you're gonna do that, you gotta really, really have different types of plans and make sure that these ancillary businesses that you're doing, you know what I mean? Making these trades, doing, I was talking to an artist, I'm like, do a jingle. I was talking to a author, create a pamphlet. These are things that you can do. There's always things that you do that you do. Like, everybody does something very, very good and exceptional. Just utilize that in the cannabis industry. So that's how I if I have more of those businesses, now who I am right now today, you know, I can go to these brands and be like, yo, I got all these black businesses. This is what I did for Black History Month. I utilized a lot of the black businesses and created and collaborated them with the brands with the bigger brands. So there's always opportunity. You know, ancillary businesses is definitely a good way, and just creating a different route in your own business. That, you know, with this program, we could change a lot of lives, a lot of young lives. So I'm excited. I'm excited about just knowing that in the next 10 years we could change the lives of many. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's not going to be over a day. It's going to be over a length of time. But this is one step closer. You know what I mean? We're one step in the right direction. So, like I said, thank you to Leah. Thank you to our whole team. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everybody, for all of this. And we're going to keep going, man. We're going to keep going, and we're going to do great things. We're going to do great things for our community, man. Definitely. My man.
Darrell, thank you for coming by.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
What's going on, guys? It's Alexander Pade here with the one and only Gary Perry. He handles diversity, equity, inclusion over at Revolutionary Clinics. My man, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself, huh?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. How are things going? What's been up?
Things are pretty good. I'm just working pretty diligently with the leads and executive team over at Rev. We're building out year one of our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy for 2021. Things are moving pretty quickly and moving pretty well, actually.
That's great, man.
Folks, you know, they move into this full steam ahead. They get their license, they get their certifications, and they open their doors, and they're not too keen on how to run this style of business. And so I think having that mentorship at the very least helps them to get some insight on how to operate these businesses as opposed to any other business that they may have operated before.
So what do you think was the source of the whitewashing? You know, why are we at the point that we're at now?
I believe it's the way the licenses happened. I believe it's the way that they went out. I also believe that from the very start, with the DPH and not having a system in play for economic empowerment or social equity before it was handed off to the cannabis control community, set a bunch of companies off on a trajectory unchecked until that happened. And then when the CCC came in, kind of threw some wrenches in folks' ways, some necessary wrenches, but some wrenches indeed. I definitely see this as an opportunity to kind of bring more diverse perspective into the game as it progresses, as opposed to us following suit from what's been done the past 4 or 5 years.
Sure. Why is equity and inclusion in cannabis so important, with all of that being said?
I think it would have been a given had this thing rolled out the way it was supposed to. Because it hasn't, there is an inherent push for inclusivity to this industry as in every other industry. Seeing it this is as early and as young as it is, we have an opportunity, hopefully, to fight a lot less for that. for that stake in this game, in this industry. There are some people in this industry who are trying to get rich, and then there are some of us who are trying to escape, very near poverty-like states of being. And I think that as time progresses, we'll see more genuine approaches from a lot of different organizations that are community serving and community first, and the community will in turn take care of those organizations as well.
As Leah mentioned, at our Cambridge grand opening, and when she came to our grand opening and she was selling T-shirts for her 2020 program, and we got to talking, and I couldn't believe what her vision was, this whole gift program and bringing mentorship into this community. Is important. You can't sit around and talk about this. You got to do something. And I could tell from talking to this woman that she was going to get something done. So let me tell you, we're proud and honored to hitch our wagon to Leah Daniels and Jay and the whole gift team. So capable, so amazing to actually put words into action. And I can't even tell you how impressed and blown away I am. It's crystal clear, that there are a lot of good intentions to drive equity in the Massachusetts marketplace, but it did not work. Look around, go to dispensary, and it didn't work. And so we all know, after speaking to many aspiring entrepreneurs, that there's a couple of things they really need to get over the hump, and that is funding and mentorship. Yeah, there's a lot to learn in this business, and at Rev Clinics, we've put our time in to learn this business, and we are excited to share it with people in the gift program as mentors. So Leah comes along with this concept, and we're like, wow, okay. We've got to do this. So Leah and I have been talking probably for over a year now on a regular basis. But let me be clear, this is not our program. It's 110% Leah and her team. While we're there supporting her and helping her in any way with just basically advice and support and financially, this is Leah's program. And a lot of people in this city and in Massachusetts are going to benefit from it. And I believe this is going to be successful because we're collaborating. We are not separate. We are working together. We're holding hands, and we are making it work. And collaboration is the way this is going to get done. In this case, equity really is it's basically a factor of getting together and getting shit done. And there's a lot of talk, but we're here to work, roll up our sleeves, and make it happen.
So I thank my mentor. They have been phenomenal. They have let us know where the roadblocks are, the potholes are, the hiccups are, the situations, what not to put on the shelf, what to put on the shelf, how much they're going to put on the shelf for us, what the turnaround time is for payment. We have an extensive payment of 120 days. I mean, that alone, people in industries and services are giving us a large percentage off of the down payment we have to put forward. Just knowing that they're working with us to move us forward. We have been well welcomed and well received. We have learned so much about standard operating procedures, communication back and forth with the state, the Cannabis Control Commission, and just wonderful places when we bump into situations where we don't know, to have a place we can actually trust to call on to get the right answer. And if not the right answer, they'll at least assist us in trying to get that.
Hello, I am here with Ryan Anson, who is a co-founder of Rev Clinics. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Beautiful, and I love it's a pleasure to be here talking about cannabis and equity in the industry. What do you have to say, or what are your takes on equity in cannabis, equity and inclusion in cannabis?
I think it's a really exciting conversation, and I'm glad to be having it with you, and I'm glad to be supporting Leah and Edmund and Alchemy and Gift. I think that in general, we've needed to go from conversation and ideation to action and data-driven decisions a long time ago. And we are now today, anybody who's taking part in this industry, beneficiaries of so much work that's been done before us. And I think that we need to pay tribute to that, and we need to pay tribute to the fact that this industry should have evolved and existed outside of the shadows, outside of what has become the illicit market for so many years because of a misguided war on drugs that was so painful and so harmful and continues to perpetuate even today. And so the conversation around equity in cannabis needs to signal that we remember and that we recognize and that this is still going on today. But we also need to put systems in place, and this is why I'm so excited about Gift and Leah's vision and Leah's energy. We need to put systems in place to use data to show what has, or to look at what has worked and what hasn't worked, and help support in a myriad of ways the entrepreneurs that are really going to make up the fabric of the future of this industry. A platform where believers in what she's trying to achieve, which I think that there are many, can come together and share resources of all kinds, because the data is showing that there's not one silver bullet in order to achieve success. And I hope in this conversation we can talk about even what success is, because I think so far it's been really short-sighted. But after looking at this nationally and seeing what each city, each state, and many public-private partnerships that have attempted a solution, after looking at all of those, it's clear that there's really a rubric, a matrix of different types of resources that our entrepreneurs in this community need. And by community, I mean the cannabis community really need, because it's a mighty complex industry. And this is hard and expensive and time-consuming and confusing. And what Gift can provide our entrepreneurs here in Massachusetts is a platform to have a greater likelihood of success. And I think people forget that there's a 95% chance of failure in the startup community in general. And so when you add in the complexity of this plant, the complexity of this industry, the regulations in this industry, and the price of entering this space, my goodness, do we all need allies. And I'm so glad personally to support the initiative, and I'm so glad that Revolutionary is acting as a bit of a Swiss Army knife in providing all that we can to these entrepreneurs and to Leah and Edmund and Gift Direct. That each of the graduating entrepreneurial endeavors, however it's formed, however it's structured, whatever their intention is, by way of product line or business category, each of them is encouraged, and she, I'll let her use the words, but pushes them, encourages them, and embeds into their structure a flywheel that encourages them or requires them to help the next group and the next group. And I think that's so critical to pay it forward in any industry, but I've not heard that a lot in these attempts at collaboration or social equity and economic empowerment in cannabis, maybe because it's so fresh and we're really trying to graduate the first groups, especially here in Massachusetts, into success. But let's assume as a community that we are going to create success in this first cohort, the next series of cohorts. And let's encourage the continuation of this assistance, of these kind of expedited learning journeys, so that we can all succeed together. And I love that that's baked into the framework of GIFT, this flywheel of positivity and symbiosis.
First of all, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to demonstrate to all of those who are at the fundraising event, whether in person or virtually, that you recognize that this is such a critically important work. And my connection is to the founders, the co-owners, and our relationship goes back many years, since I was the president and chief executive officer of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. And in that capacity, it gave me the opportunity to meet a whole host of people, but none have been more impressive than the owners of GIFT and what they are doing and what they're trying to do for people who to break into the industry. I was also very fortunate to go out to Oaksterdam in California to take a class that allowed me to really have a better functional understanding of the cannabis industry. So I'm not just a casual bystander. I'm a certified bud tender. And so that lets me, so it means I have an affinity, because many of the individuals who tried to do this work were blocked out for so many reasons, whether it's on the economic side, whether it's on the policy side, whether it's on the legislative side, or it even had the legal components, all impacting the cannabis industry. And so what my interest was is that I've been in civil rights for over 30 years, both in the NAACP and the National Urban League at senior levels. And so I know what it's like to be kind of down and out, whether you're in Boston or down and out in Beverly Hills or Detroit or New York or St. Louis or New Orleans. And so I know this country and I know the challenges and the barriers. And so it was a real simple, easy lift to support GIFT. So, because I knew what they were trying to do and what they are trying to do, and they need people to help them achieve their objectives financially. So they need your time, they need your talent, and they surely need your treasure. And so tonight is one of those opportunities that you can give all three. And if you can give your treasure and your talent and your time, then it will make their work of connecting the dots even more important. I think the equity and inclusion in the cannabis industry looks like that there are a lot of people who want to cross over the bridge to the future and 2, opportunity. However, in order to cross that bridge, you need a mode of transportation, you need resources, and you need to have access. And so diversity and inclusion means that there is somebody there that's going to guide me through all of the hurdles and the twists and the turns that comes with this, so we can avoid what I call stops along the way that will delay me from achieving his or her goal, or whatever goal that you have in mind. So diversity and equity, I think, are the critical components. That's the gasoline that needs to be in the vehicle in order to move the vehicle forward. And if we talk about a fossil fuel free environment, it is the electricity or whatever energy source that we need. So we can talk about what we have and where we're going. And I think both are needed in today's society. So I'm a huge proponent. I'm a huge fan of diversity and equity, because people want to break out of their cycle of poverty. And when they can do it on their own terms, and when they can find a way to do it where they can have support, where there's mentoring, there's nurturing, and there's also access to the knowledge to be able to do it in a very perfunctory way where they're as competent and professional as possible, then I think that that's called a win-win. It's very, very easy to be overlooked or to be taken for granted, or in being invisible, not being perceived as being a credible participant in this billions-dollar industry. And so therefore, if you have money and you have friends and you have access, then it's almost like a magic carpet ride. But if you don't have friends and you don't have cash and you don't have access, man, that's a long road to travel. And so you need programs like GIFT in order to build the infrastructure that will give people what I would consider that infrastructure or that bridge to where they're trying to go. Say very clearly, not only grow your business, grow the bud, respond to people's needs. The market is expanding. And as we would say, that there are others who have more of a marketing budget, and they have the prowessness to dominate the industry. But we should not be deterred, and we should not be left behind, because we believe that diversity and equity gives us a fighting chance. Put us on the same track and give us the same tools and equipment, and we will demonstrate to you that we can compete.
Yes, 100% all the way, Darnell. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Glad. Good luck, everybody, tonight. Sorry I can't be with you, but I'm there with you in spirit.
Definitely. We feel the spirit. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hello, I am Shanti, and I'm here with Brianna Aguilar. She is a solution consultant and a project director at ARCA. Thank you for coming with us. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is such an exciting way to be introduced to each other under the name of Equity in Cannabis. What are you excited about when it comes to this gift program? Tell us what you know about it and what excites you about it.
Yeah, so about 9 months ago, ARPA started working with Lee Daniels on a cash management project for her dispensary that she's opening up called Alchemy Lee. And during those conversations, she started talking to us about gifts. And that got us really excited because it really allows, through this program, an impact, a community impact, if you will, allowing local individuals to get involved with local community leaders to build something amazing through training and mentorship programs to ultimately impact the lives and improvement and betterment of everybody within the area.
What do you think about gift and its impact locally versus its impact globally?
So I think starting locally is extremely important to make sure that everyone has the same opportunity to impact individual lives, the lives of the community, providing a product or storefront or whatever that is, and everybody being able to play on the same playing field or be on the same level. And I think GIFT is providing all of those tools, pulling in all of those talents, and building upon that together to really strengthen one another so that as everyone, expands their wings and goes out to the community to build, they have all the tools to do so. From a global standpoint, I think it allows that opportunity, because sometimes the opportunity is not there, or you have those aspirations to get there, but you don't necessarily have the blueprint or the plan on how to get there. I think it provides those connections, those opportunities, and then the training or skills, or sharpening those skills in order to do that. Inclusivity is important, right? So allowing a lot of minorities, people of color, the same opportunity and the same advances to impact and be on the same playing field as other entrepreneurs out there, whether that's through opportunities, sponsorships, or what have you through GIFT. Again, being able to see those doors and knowing what door to walk through, and when you walk through that door, being prepared. And I think that's something that GIFT offers, is the opportunity for you to know what door to walk through and what skill sets you need to have and what you need to look for in order to be successful with whatever it is you're trying to do, and especially in the cannabis industry. So there's more representation. I'm a solution consultant and project director for ARCA. ARCA is a global cash automation company, so we work primarily with cash. But in fact, ARCA means cash box in Latin. So ideally, this industry manages a lot of cash, and we provide a solution to make it a little bit easier so that whether it's the cashiers, or sometimes I've heard the term bud tenders, they have the opportunity to really spend time with the individual in front of them, and the managers can focus on the operations. Operations can focus on the next big store, the next big thing. They're not having to focus on some of the manual pain points that comes with manually handling cash.
Room. My name is Sean Carnell, 41 years old, 100% permanent total disabled veteran. I want to say thank you to Sean and Al, and also Jeff and Leah for inviting me here today to tell my story, how cannabis saved my life, and more importantly lets me live a less painful life. I have a lot of injuries. I have a service dog that's not here right now. He's a Great Dane. He would be knocking his tail all over every bottle, and he would not know what to do with all these people and all this, it would just be sensory overload. 2003 was the beginning of some of my horrible injuries. I was the third car in a left turn lane on a highway in North Carolina, and first car went, Second car went. Third car. I still remember what that horn sounds like. 70 miles an hour. Dog was in the front seat. American Foxhound. Got thrown across my face into an oncoming car. Killed that dog. Got out of that car. That would result in a traumatic brain injury where I had a 3-carat rock in my head for 3.5 weeks. No sleep, vision problems. These aren't sunglasses, they're prescriptions. Sometimes these lights throw me off. After that, I was on a board for about 9 hours. I guess the protocol now is to get through off as quick as possible. To this day, I'll get into my injuries here in a minute. I live a very pain-filled life. You see me doing this a lot, and you know, it stinks. But what you focus on is this, the smile. That was a really gnarly accident. I was young. I shook it off, and I came home. And that's where a lot of veterans struggle with that transition. I became a peer support specialist later on in life because of that transition. I would be home for about 2 months. I was coming home from work. I'm in my truck. You know where this is going? 1 mile from my house, I hit a tree. I tapped on the brakes. It was lightly raining. Nothing crazy. Thank God that tree was there because I would have went into the house. I remember my father, it was probably one of the worst days of his life, saying, getting the police come up to the house, Mr. Carnell, your son's been in a horrible accident, been med flighted. They had to cut that truck from the seat back. I had a neighbor, thank God, that held my head. Still to this day, never met him. Hopefully I do, God. I know I'll see him someday. He said my neck looked like a rubber band. It definitely feels like a rubber band. That accident would put me on my couch for about 2 months. That would put me into homelessness. Not homelessness, sleeping on a couch, 9 months. I would pay attention to that, and it would have a huge hand into my outreach of being a peer support specialist. I couch surfed for 2 months, and then I lived in Boston Common. And the only way I could survive is when I got a bartending job, bar backing job. I got $150, sat down in a park, saw a Boston Sports Club. Said, hey, there's a shower. I can shower at the gym. Let me go get a gym membership. Let me survive. I kicked, scratched, clawed, came out of that. That was great.
I'm going to actually shout out ARCA. ARCA. They are also a sponsor. They're sponsors. So when we ask for sponsorships, we're asking for the 3 T's: time, treasure, and talent. Because there are absolutely different ways to assist people in this industry. So absolutely time is coming in, volunteering. Treasure, that's the money. And then talent. So we have people that are lawyers, even doctors, nurses that can help people get their medical cards. So all of those things they all add up and they all help. It took us 2 years to get our recreational provisional license. It was a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of work. I own a business outside of cannabis. My wife owns a business outside of cannabis, which allowed us to fund this. We are funding our dispensary out of our own pocket with the support of my family. So I'm gonna stop and thank my mother, who is in all gold, my godmother, who is in all white, my Aunt Lois, my Aunt Rhonda. I'm going to thank them because they're nice. So I'm like, look, I need like $1,000, and they're like, all right, come and get it. And so if it's not really for family, and so my aunt integrated the airlines. My mother was the first person for affirmative action. And so we have pioneers in this room, and they give us the inspiration to continue on, because when I tell you it's hard, it's hard. It's hard. It is hard to continue to smile and be brave, right? After all of it, it's hard to hold back tears. It's hard. And so when you have pioneering women who are business owners and who just say, listen, we've been through it, it's the same old thing, you can do it. They don't allow you to, you make yourself proud of yourself. And that is what we go out the door with every single day.
My relationship with cannabis is a very spiritual one. It helps me to find balance in almost every situation in life. A huge point to mention is that cannabis has helped me get through a lot of actual physical pain, apart from emotional stuff, but like actual physical pain. I've gone through a lot medically, and I've always managed to take little to no medication, just getting by with my cannabis.
Share with us, what do you feel about inclusion and equity in the cannabis industry?
I mean, I think it's crucial, especially considering how many people of color are in jail and, you know, paying for a crime that's not even a crime now, that other people are making money for, but then they're not even in the industry. I think that it's very important, and it's also going to help shift how America looks at the Black man as a businessman. You know, I think that that's going to make a huge impact, and I'm all for it. I think it's crucial. I think it needs to happen, because that's another healing aspect that needs to happen. Once there's more inclusion, it's more balanced, there's more healing that, you know, continues to happen, which is the goal.
To be vertically integrated, and as an economic empowerment applicant, we are vertically integrated medical marijuana facility in the state of Massachusetts, looking to come to communities near you, states near you, cannabis commissions near you, to help discuss and come up with solutions for equity and inclusion that is real and very substantive. And we are here to help, open-minded, open-hearted, and open-spirited, to be supportive in any solution you come up with. Hopefully it'll be a gift, green industry funded training. But if not, we are here to be supportive in an equity solution coming to your town and your state.
We don't come from big money, we're not from out of state. Had to earn every dollar that was on our plate. So if you tired of buying low quality weed, let me tell you about our company. If you got a problem we can solve it, using high grade costs with no solvent. No butane, that's no problem. No chemicals needed when pressing fresh rosin. Whether flower or cartridge, concentrate or edible, don't need a med card, but all our weed is medicals. Doctors prescribe pills, them pills full of chemicals. Our weed's better for you than eating fresh vegetables. With no pesticides and no mold, satisfaction guaranteed with every gram sold. From the inner city streets we worked and we rose to put our souls into these pre-rolls. I said THC and CBD here now to save our community. We got what you need when you got pain to ease. Best believe the best weed come from Alchemy League. money we're not from out of state. Had to earn every dollar that was on our plate. So if you tired of buying low quality weed, let me tell you about our company. If you got a problem we can solve it, using high grade costs with no solvent. No butane, that's no problem. No chemicals needed when pressing fresh rosin. Whether flour or cartridge, concentrate or edible, don't need a med card, but all our weed is medicals. Doctors prescribe pills, them pills full of chemicals. Our weed's better for you than eating fresh vegetables. With no pesticides and no mold, satisfaction guaranteed with every gram sold. From the inner city streets we worked and we rose to put our souls into these pre-rolls. I said THC and CBD, here now to save our community. We got what you need when you got pain to ease. Best believe the best weed come from Alchemy League.